References for credit and criteria applying to pump capacity are shown here. When considering pump capacity, how much is enough? Every fire department will have a different answer to this question. PIL's answer is that you should have enough to fight a large-scale fire in most of the properties found in your area. You will recall in our previous discussion of engine company credits that I explained the concept of basic fire flow. For insurance rating purposes only, PIL calculates the water needs for every property in our database that are shown to be in your area. Then we sort this list from highest to lowest. The basic fire flow is the fifth highest needed fire flow in your area, and it is capped at 3,500 GPM. To receive full credit for pump capacity, you must have adequate pumps to meet your basic fire flow. Let's look now at how this credit is calculated. The formula for calculating the credit for pump capacity is pretty straightforward, but it does bear discussion. The total value of pump capacity is the sum of in-service and reserve pumpers, other pumps rated at 150 psi, and pumps on automatic aid engines. If the sum capacity exceeds the basic fire flow, full credit for the pump capacity is earned, and if not, a prorated credit is earned. A factor not easily seen by looking at the formula is that not all pumps are given equal weight when adding up their value. Let me explain. Credit for in-service pumpers includes the rated capacity of engines, engine ladder trucks, and engine service trucks if their pumps are rated at 150 psi. Credit earned is based on the most recent pump test, and if no records are available, PIAL will use the value shown on the manufacturer's plate that is attached to the pump panel. We will round the value down to the nearest 50 gallons per minute, meaning that a 1250 pump that is rated at 1256 will get credit for 1250 GPM. A 1000 GPM pump that is rated at 1008 GPM will get credit for a 1000 GPM, and so forth. The actual credit earned is dependent on the status of the apparatus pump test records. If records are incomplete, the rate value is reduced by 25%, and if there are no pump test records, you will only receive 50% of the rated capacity. Do not confuse this with the credit for pump testing as part of the engine company credits found in Section 510 of the schedule. In that section, if there are no pump test records, there is no credit earned. Pump capacity of reserve pumpers is determined in the same manner as for in-service pumpers. Pumps that are permanently mounted on other trucks may also be creditable. These trucks are those that are not already considered as in-service or reserve pumpers. Pumps on these trucks must be capable of delivering at least 250 gallons per minute at 150 psi. The creditable value of these pumps is 50% of their rated value, and the same reductions for pump test records apply. At this point, I know someone is asking, so does this mean that the pumps on my tanker has to be tested to be creditable? No, it certainly does not. But without pump test records, the creditable supply is reduced. Please don't be overly concerned about this. Most areas meet their basic fire flow with their in-service and reserve apparatus, which receive 100% credit for their pump capacities. In this case, added pump capacity for the other pumps is irrelevant. The final category of pumps creditable when considering total pump capacity is automatic aid pumpers. These apparatus can only be included if there is an actual need for them in the graded area. The need would be based on the lack of pumpers in the graded area to meet their basic fire flow, or distances the graded area's pumpers might have to travel to reach outlying parts of their protection area. The same basic rules for crediting capacities of in-service pumpers apply to automatic aid pumpers, but there is an automatic aid factor that must be considered. The automatic aid factor is multiplied by the apparatus's rated pump capacity, and that is the value that is credited. For more information about the automatic aid factor, please see Section 507 of the Fire Suppression Rating Schedule. Let's look now at an example of how credits for pump capacity might be calculated. In this example, we see a department that has two 1500 GPM pumpers, but they need 3 pumpers based on their basic fire flow. They have an automatic aid arrangement that provides a third pumper whose pump is rated at 1000 GPM and its automatic aid factor is 0.75. They also have a tanker with a 1000 GPM pump. All of these pumps have current and complete pump test records on file. In addition, this department has another tanker with a 500 GPM pump, but this pump is not tested. Let's look at each of these in the formula for calculating credit for pump capacity. First, there are the two 1500 GPM pumpers owned by the graded area. The sum capacity is 3000 as shown in the formula. There is no reserve pumper, so the next value found in the formula is 0. For the two tankers, it gets a little more complex. The 1000 GPM tanker is awarded 500 GPM capacity because it is rated at 150 psi and the tests are complete and documented. The other tanker that they have also has its rated capacity of 500 reduced by 50% in accordance with the fire suppression rating schedule. This gives it an effective capacity of 250 gallons per minute. Because there are no records of having tested this pump, this rate is again reduced by 50% to yield a net rate of 125 GPM. We add this to the 500 GPM awarded to the tested tanker's pump, and we get a net credit of 625 GPM as shown in the formula. Finally, there's the automatic aid pumper. It's a 1000 GPM pump, and it receives 75% credit because of the automatic aid factor. The sum total of this department's credited pump capacity is 4,375 gallons per minute, but the basic fire flow is only 3,500 GPM. Because the creditable sum is limited to the basic fire flow, this rate is reduced to 3,500 as shown in red. We proceed with the calculation from this point. The overall result is that the department receives the full 3 points credit for its pump capacity. This concludes my presentation related to credit for pump capacity. As always, we at the Property Insurance Association hope this information has been useful to you. If you should have questions about this presentation or any other rating-related topic, please do not hesitate to call. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you have a great day.